What's up, everybody? PayPal just reported their second quarter results. The market response right now is pretty modest, up 1 to 2%, but I will say I'm recording this in the pre-market here on Tuesday. When you're watching this, perhaps the stock price will be pretty different. We're going to go through the numbers. I'll give you my thoughts on risk reward. And of course, as always, nothing I say here is advice to buy or sell PayPal stock. I just give you my opinion and I tell you what I'm doing with my money. And in case you don't know, I do have a position in PayPal. It's actually a significant holding for me. I bought a starter position a couple years ago at about $55 a share, which ironically is essentially the price we're trading at right now. I didn't do anything with it. It ran all the way up to $90. I didn't sell. It fell all the way down to $40 at the beginning of this year. If you've been following PayPal, I'm sure you're aware that there was a big crash back in February. I made several videos on PayPal at the time saying, $40 is simply too cheap for this stock. Gave my arguments why, which essentially amounted to PayPal is still a very trusted payment processor that is extremely profitable. Venmo's growth is great and not really that reflected in the bottom line. And even if none of their other bets pan out, like agentic, ads, greater adoption of PayPal stablecoin, if none of that ever adds to the bottom line, still the cash flow generation of this company, it's worth more than $40 per share. So I increased my position back here in February. This is a significant holding for me. I did trim very slightly at the end of last week, and that was because I wanted to free up cash to buy Charter, ticker symbol CHTR, on Friday morning. I talked about that in my previous video. Again, not a recommendation to buy. Now, let's talk about PayPal. If you get value out of this video, then subscribe to the channel. If you want to grab my Google Sheets template for analyzing stocks or join my Discord, then consider following me on Patreon. Link to that will be down below. And to start, I just want to show you what their guidance 3 months ago was for this quarter. They were saying transaction margin was going to be down about 3%, excluding interest on customer balances, down low single digits, non-GAAP earnings per share down 9%, GAAP earnings per share down mid single digits. This was not great guidance. They did have a new CEO. Alex Chris was out. Enrique Lores, who was the chairman of the board, he came in to replace him. A lot of times with new management, you see them trying to talk down the numbers. Basically, they often try to give themselves a low bar to step over. And the numbers they actually delivered for this quarter was 1% transaction margin growth, 3% if you exclude the interest on customer balances. So this was up, not down. That's about 5-ish% outperformance from what they were saying. Non-GAAP earnings per share was down 1%. Again, they were saying this was going to be down 9%. So the headline numbers might not sound fantastic, but I mean, in the context of their guidance, this is about the high end of, I think, what you could reasonably expect. Total payment volume up 9% on a currency neutral basis. Revenue up a bit less, 3% currency neutral. And that's because, one, take rates are falling from PayPal. And the segment with the highest take, branded checkout, it's not growing as strongly. This quarter, it was up 2% year over year. That is a bit better than the previous quarter. They say branded checkout total payment growth further stabilized. They raised their full year expectations on branded checkout to low single digit growth. Again, because that's the most profitable segment, a lot of people are going to look at that branded checkout, and that's going to move the needle here. And before we go on, I got some comments, I think in the last PayPal video, maybe in some other videos, why I always focus on currency neutral instead of just, the headline, the spot number. And the short answer is the currency neutral growth, that's going to be a more meaningful metric when you're trying to model out the company going forward. Just to give you a quick example, imagine there's a company where revenue top line, they have $1 billion coming in as actual US dollars, and then $1 billion worth of euros. So maybe that's, somewhere around 900 million euros. Now, let's say next year, their top line, they also bring in $1 billion and they still bring in 900 million euros. So same top line revenue, right? Well, what if actually over that year, the euro gained 10% against the dollar? Now, maybe those 900 million euros, maybe that's, 1.1 billion US dollars. So if you look at your top line revenue and you're reporting in dollars, then you would report 2.1 billion US dollars. Revenue grew 5% year over year. If you're an analyst looking at this company, what do you think is a more relevant measure of growth? Saying revenue grew 5% or saying that, currency neutral, revenue grew 0%. You took in the same number of dollars, same number of euros as the previous year. Unless you have some strong belief that exchange rates are going to keep moving in the same direction every year, then I'd probably just use the currency neutral numbers. So that's what I do. Now back to PayPal. They focus a lot on this on things that weren't necessarily branded checkout. They're essentially trying to make the case that, okay, branded checkout growth, it doesn't look incredible, but we're more than branded checkout. Buy now, pay later, total payment volume actually accelerated now to 26% growth. Venmo debit card monthly active accounts grew over 50%. Now that's off of a pretty small base, but still. Venmo and Braintree both growing total payment volume in the mid-teens. These are both low margin segments, but still great growth. They say they're on track for at least $1.5 billion in gross run rate savings over the next 2 to 3 years. About $400 million of run rate savings achieved by year end. And while it's possible that over the next few years that might cause operating expenses to go down, they've also accelerated some investments. They talked about modernizing their technology platform, rebuilding consumer side of their two-sided network. And that has all led to operating expenses actually being up in this quarter. So just bouncing over to their income statement really quick, operating income was down, looks like $77 million in this quarter. So about 5%. Now they did mention on the call that they are lapping a non-recurring benefit that they had in last year's quarter. So if you strip that out, I think that was about 50 to 60 million there. If you ignore that, operating income would have been down, 1 to 2%. Not a huge change, but while we're on this income statement really quick, let's just look at the number of shares outstanding. In this quarter, the average number of diluted shares outstanding, 882 million. Now, this is a weighted average throughout the quarter. In fact, currently there are 862 million PayPal shares outstanding. But if we just compare this 882 number to a year ago, where it was 977, they bought back close to 100 million shares in the past year. That is absolutely massive. Even in spite of all their dilution from their share-based compensation, PayPal has, about $1 billion or so in share-based compensation. They brought that more under control the past few years. That's quite a lot of stock-based compensation for their size, not certainly unheard of for a tech business. But even when you take that stock-based compensation into account, they bought back net 10% of the company over the past year. That is a ton of shareholder return. They also have, 1% or so dividend, just enough of a dividend to say they have a dividend. So they've effectively put all of their free cash flow back into share buybacks. And they reiterated that for the full fiscal year, they're going to repurchase $6 billion worth of shares. And even if you net out that $1 billion in share-based compensation I just mentioned, that's still $5 billion net of share repurchases for the year. And they're not taking on debt or destroying their balance sheet to do this. They have the cash flow to pay for this. I mean, if we look at the balance sheet, it's pretty good. They have a slight net cash position. Their current assets of $62 billion is roughly the same as their total liabilities of about $63 billion. So relatively solid balance sheet, good cash flow, and growth, it's still mediocre, but it's positive. This is not a company that looks like it's falling off a cliff. This is not a declining business even. Branded checkout, the high margin segment that everyone wants to talk about, they're guiding that to be low single digit growth in the second half. And again, it was 2% for this quarter. So not some crazy growth, but they're saying, branded checkout has stabilized. Braintree's doing well. Venmo is quietly just getting better and better. Venmo debit, pay with Venmo, they have extremely high growth. They say we're spending quite a bit in our technology, rebuilding our network, and that might be hitting operating earnings in the short run. And the CFO actually even said on the call that reinvesting those savings back into growth initiatives, all of that will drive an attractive double-digit earnings growth profile over time. Double-digit earnings growth out into the future is certainly nowhere close to my base case for PayPal here. If they actually do deliver anything close to that, then PayPal is still massively undervalued today. And I think before we look at what I had for my assumptions for the future for this company and look at risk reward, we should talk about just the acquisition situation. Stripe, along with a private equity firm, as you probably know, they recently offered to buy PayPal for $60.50 a share. PayPal turned that offer down. They said, honestly, anything $75 or below, we probably would have lawsuits from investors saying, why are you selling the company off so cheap? And on this earnings call, the CEO really did not give any details about their discussions there. There's absolutely nothing in the earnings report in the presentation about buyouts. All he said was, we're open to offers. If you want to make us an offer, we're going to look at it. We're going to do what's best for shareholders. But right now, we're just focused on executing our plan. I don't know what else people expected the CEO to say on this call. He obviously wasn't going to talk about specifics. But actually, interestingly enough, before he mentioned the buyout, PayPal went from, being down 1 or 2% pre-market to being up maybe 1 or 2%. And speaking of price, the market is now open. PayPal's up about 3%. That makes sense to me. I might have even expected more. Again, as I said, this was about the best earnings report in terms of the numbers I think you could expect given the guidance that they had. So with that, let's go over to our sheet. Let's look at what I had in here for my base bear and bull case for my forecast assumptions. And I haven't changed these numbers from the last time we looked at PayPal. You can see here my base case, I just have revenue growing 2% every year for the next 5 years. So, barely keeping up with inflation, probably not even keeping up with inflation. Operating margins pulling back just slightly. Free cash flow margin, I'm keeping roughly similar to where they are now. This basically represents the shareholder returns. It's actually a little less than what they're currently doing, and I'm only giving them a 9 times multiple. And in this scenario, you're looking at a 12% annualized return at current prices. Now, I have to say, in light of their report and in light of their comments, I think my assumptions here are pretty conservative. Stabilizing brand at checkout and having really quite solid growth in Braintree and Venmo. I think that probably merits more like mid-single digit revenue growth and probably slightly better margins than what I have here. Not to mention the fact that, a 9 times multiple might be a little bit cheap for this company. If I just bring that revenue growth up to 3%, I give this company a 10 times multiple. I mean, now you're looking at a 15% annualized return every year for 5 years. That's a double on your money over 5 years. I still don't think I put in any lofty assumptions into my base case. My bear case here now looks extremely pessimistic, down 3% on top line every year for 5 years, operating margins pulling back significantly. I'm assuming the shareholder returns drop from less than 4 billion down to, less than 3.5 billion over 5 years. And I'm only giving them a 7 times multiple. Back when the stock was about $40 a share in February, even in my bear case, I was actually getting a okay and acceptable return. I think it was about a 7% annualized return in this scenario with these horrible numbers. Now with the higher price, these assumptions imply that you're down roughly 1% a year in this scenario. But I will say, it looks like this scenario is extremely unlikely. It looks a bit less likely now than back in February. Perhaps I'll just change my revenue assumptions in this scenario to 0. Basically, revenue is stagnant for 5 years. This company never is growing their top line again. Margins still pull back a little bit, and yeah, I'll keep their multiple at a 7. And in this case, you're getting a 2% annualized return on PayPal stock. I think I'm being extremely pessimistic here still, but if this scenario plays out, you're still actually up money after 5 years. Now, my bull case, this actually might not be bullish enough for a true bull scenario. I just had revenue growth increasing to 5%, operating margins stay roughly where they are, and I'm giving them a 16 times multiple. Now, in the event that Agentic or PayPal ads or, the potential future monetization of Venmo, in the event that any of those really increase the bottom line significantly. I mean, again, the CFO actually said on this call, attractive double-digit earnings growth profile over time. This bull case I have here is not reflecting double-digit earnings growth profile. If you actually have that, then I'm not being bullish enough. If you think operating margins can expand slightly, revenue growth accelerates from 5 to maybe 6 or 7%, and this company trades for, maybe an 18 times multiple, you're looking at a quadruple on your money over 5 years, a 33% annualized return. Overall, my opinion on PayPal, I think the risk reward is still pretty good. Again, this isn't advice for you to buy or sell PayPal stock, but I always tell you what I'm doing with my money. And as far as what I'm doing with my position today, I'm probably doing nothing. I'm just holding PayPal. It's still a reasonable holding for me. I don't see any reason why I would sell on this report. I know I said I trimmed a small amount last week, but again, that was just to free up some money to buy Charter. Bottom line is, I still think PayPal stock is cheap. And just one quick comment, because if you look at the price of PayPal, we're still down 26% over a year. Obviously, if you've held this stock for a while, for 5 years, you're down a ton. But from the low in February, we're actually up close to 50% now. So, prices of companies, they're very volatile. The market is very susceptible to fear and greed. As far as my assumptions about the actual business, I really haven't changed much about my base case assumptions over the past year. We tweaked the numbers a little based on new data, but nothing groundbreaking. If you're looking at PayPal stock today and you think that this price is very cheap and it's a great buy, then back in February, you should have loved it. At $40 a share, you should have thought that the risk reward was pretty good. Yeah, there have been some operational improvements. They outperformed their guidance. The numbers look a little bit better than we thought, but the stock price is also up 50% since then. There were so many people who sold here in February, and I feel like they sold out of fear. If you put in realistic assumptions for the future back in February and you came up with a base case where you said, my return isn't that great, then fine, sell the stock. But if your conservative assumptions implied a very good return for PayPal stock at $40 a share and you sold anyway, then I would argue you're reacting to fear and you're letting the market price determine what you think the value is. The market price is not the value of the business. Sometimes it can be quite disconnected from the value of the business. And at the end of the day, that's really what we're trying to find. We're trying to find stocks that are deeply undervalued, that the market is sleeping on. So with that, I think we'll end the video here. If you got value, subscribe to the channel. If you want to grab my Google Sheets template or join my Discord, then consider following me on Patreon. Link to that will be down below. And if you agree or disagree with anything I said in this video, leave that down in the comments too. I know tons of people have thoughts about PayPal. Certainly, I know back in February when I said I was buying PayPal, quite a number of people both agreeing and disagreeing with me there. So leave your thoughts down below, and I hope to see you all in another video.